And I'm back. You move one thing in OBS and it breaks the whole thing. Just a short little break. Actually, wait, hold up. It moved back. What the hell? Let's see. I might break it again. 1 second. Sorry if it ends up being broken. I'm trying to move the chat. Yep, round 2, exactly. Okay. All right. Because my computer restarted, because my computer restarted, like all my OBS settings were like reset. So I listen, it's one of those things where if I move a window in OBS, it crashes it. Is anything you can hear me and see stuff, right? From what I could tell, everything's working okay now. It's literally if I just move a window in OBS, it will just crash the entire program. It'll just break the whole thing. And, you know, I guess I could Google and try to figure out the problem, but for the most part, it's been literally just I don't think about it. I don't think about it. I don't move things around. I'll just let them I'll just, you know, if I don't move any windows, it won't crash. We're good to go. Maybe I'll figure it out. But how you doing today, Lux? Hopefully y'all what's your grandma named Munty Bunty wrestling people? That is, I never would have been able to guess that. That's interesting, surely. You're having a more interesting day than I am, that's for sure. I basically worked out with my brother, went back home, passed out for a for a nap, woke up, ate a snack, and here we are. Really didn't do a whole lot. Munty Bunty. I have a couple friends who are really into wrestling. I gotta ask them, like, what is that? What does that even mean? Who is Munty Bunty? Who is Munty and why do they Bunty? Oh gosh. Well, today, hopefully we'll be making a good amount of progress. I know the last like week or so we've been kind of working on this map that we have going on here, made by Tears of Grace. Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. But we pretty much like just about finished last time. So we were just kind of finishing it up, polishing it a little bit, making sure that we have just like green squares, purple squares, all that kind of stuff. All of the things that we need to import into Godot, import all the sprites in, put it on, make sure that it looks pretty much exactly what we want it to look like. Then code in the interactions. And I think after that, it's literally just coding in the calls that are coming in. And then once all that's good to go, we just script. And we just figure out how we want to balance everything out. And like the rate of infection spread. And like what kind of red herrings do we want to introduce. And then we just kind of have that creative writing process, you know? All right, so to kind of go over the map again, we should probably actually make this a separate color, no? We'll make it a brighter green. So this brighter green here is our starting location. That's where we are. That's who we are currently occupying. Nearby, we have the fire department, as well as the hospital. We are near the exit, in a way, in that we can go up and right and then leave the town. The town you can leave from the far left side, and then we're actually pretty close by the exit, but we will not have the ability to leave. And then the gas station. North of the gas station, we have our hardware store, as well as our liquor store. Then to the west of the liquor store, we have our gated community. These are houses that are gated, and the fenced off area is there to give the player a false sense of security, in which it's like, oh, it's fenced, so they will have a more difficult time to get through. And the reality is, no. No, that's not how that works. In the middle of the town, we have the statue of the founder. North of that, we have a school. Oh, that's right. We were still trying to figure out 2 other locations based on just empty space that need to be properly utilized, right? As far as houses go and buildings go, I really do like this map. I think overall this map is well designed. But we need to figure out what we're going to do about this location and what we're going to do about this location. So as far as stores that... Well, we'll just finish out, actually. We'll finish out describing the area. So near a school, there is another building. Actually, now that I think about it, because currently we have the park, right? We have the kind of the roundabout in the middle of the town, but we don't really have like a park and or a playground. Like, which one of these little squares is the playground? Is it this one? Is it this one? Is it this one? Like, right? I think it would make a lot of sense if we make this a playground. Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and we're on the right one. We're gonna do playground, because it makes sense that the playground would be near the elementary school, right? So that's the playground. And then here in the middle of town, this is the one that's a little interesting, right? Because we are missing one extra building, and that is the laundromat. And the reason that I wanted to do the laundromat is to allow... actually, now that I think about it, let's go ahead and put on Do Not Disturb before I get a whole lot of extra messages. The reason we liked laundromat is because I liked the idea of someone being stuck there. You hear stuff happening in the background, and then like the machine finishes running its cycle, so it like beeps really loud, and it pulls the attention of the thing that the person who's called them for, and then bam, right? They get got. But in order to fill that space properly, that's huge. That's a huge laundromat. So I'm wondering if there is a way to allow could we do something similar? Right? Because we could have it like so it's split up, right? So it's like, oh, technically it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2. So it's like it's 3 things, or it's 1, 2, 3, 4, or it's technically 2 things next to each other, where we have like a laundromat and something else. I was also thinking maybe like a shopping center. But to be honest, I don't know. I don't know what to fill in with this other spot. If I look at, if I open up last call Excel sheet that we have going on, we have Park, Ice Cream Man. Well, in this case, it would just be like the playground across the school, right? We have abandoned buildings to the bottom left. We have the laundromat. There is the vet. We did consider the vet. Like the animal hospital. But I liked the idea. I both hated and liked the idea of a vet hospital being part of the regular hospital, where they double dip. So you would have like a lot of the same resources needed in the same location. We could potentially do something like a dentist. Small town would need a dentist, no? If you have a doctor's, you need dentists. Dental health is really important. But I don't know. I can't think of good opportunities there as far as someone getting in late at night. Or why would there even be people there late at night? Another idea. What happened to the diner? Did we go against the diner? Right? I liked the diner idea. What happened to that? Did we just not add it to the list? Let's see. Park, ice cream, hardware store, community center, hospital, school, abandoned gas station, liquor store, general store, laundromat, cable, vet, and church. What do we got here? Then we started calculating as far as how many people out there. No, I had the diner here. There's also the drugstore. But we considered the general store as the drugstore. Kind of like a super center kind of deal. I also don't see diners being that big. Certainly not nearly as big as where it's like, oh, it's a 911 operator area. Actually, it might be the same size-ish. Unless we combine it with something else. Church, cemetery. We already got church in. We got hardware store. We got cable company. We don't have vet. We don't have laundromat. We don't have a diner. We also have power plant, where they could cut off power. I crossed it out, but there's also a gun store. Right? I'm just trying to think as far as location what would make sense, because it's in the middle of town. It is the only building. Right? It is the only building. Let's make this, hold up. Add this to the folder. So that way I'm not having to do it over and over again. Right? It is the only building in the middle of town. City Hall? That might be interesting, actually. Let's see. Do small towns have city halls? No, unincorporated villages aren't required to have anything. They are settlements that just sort of grew. They are governed by the township or county or the lowest method of local governance in the area. This is not terribly uncommon in areas that are very rural and very remote. Near my hometown, there was a small incorporated village that had a city hall that could only hold a couple of people. It sees no use these days. Village halls, community space that can be booked for meetings, art fairs, small-scale concerts. Can a village have a town hall? A village is distinguished from a town in that the village should not have a regular agricultural market. Although today, such markets are uncommon, even in settlements which clearly are towns. I'm looking at the difference between a community center and a town hall. Because before I was saying the school could be the community center, but what if we made it completely separate? Community center / city hall kind of deal. The community center is generally a place for their activities for younger members of the community. Part of the values that it brings citizens within the community together. A town hall is normally more of a political affair, where things related to the functions of the community are discussed. A town hall meeting is open to all members within the community, where discussions of local problems and solutions take place. There might be something there, right? There might be something there where, you know, shit's going down. People are dying. There are things pretending to be people. Who's in charge? Who would they demand answers from? Who would they blame? Because that's what people do usually. They want to blame somebody. When things are going wrong, it's a comfort to be able to point a finger, right? Or it's like, take responsibility. So in this case, it would be the mayor, no? Let's see. How small can a town be to have a mayor? Almost all large U.S. cities have strong mayor systems. Towns with population of 5,000 or less are not allowed to incorporate and are overseen by the county government. I would say this small town is 5,000 or less people. As far as the way we're putting it around, there's only like 50 people. Are not allowed to incorporate and are overseen by the county government. What is the county government? County Commission, traditional form of government, created blah blah blah. Subdivision of the state. The county is charged with providing numerous services that affect the lives of all residents, including law enforcement, tax collection, public health, blah 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 blah. So there's like a governing body that kind of is like under my jurisdiction. This county of this small town is under my jurisdiction, is what I'm gathering here. So they wouldn't be able to like point a finger unless they're going straight up to the top, aka like the president. They're like, hey, why don't you do nothing? Let's see. Is there a person in charge of a small town? Staff of a small town mayor in charge of? The town manager is in charge of overseeing various town departments. Mayors of small towns and city council typically not a full-time job. There's usually a city manager who oversees the day-to-day operations. Very regional. In most small towns, the mayor is not a full-time job. Rather, the mayor of a small town presides over meetings of the town council and represents the town officially. The staff begins with the city manager. I don't know. We might bend the rules a little bit. Because we try to make it realistic, but we don't want it so realistic it's boring, right? If that was the case, we don't even have the game, a game. Having a place where it's like City Hall, where people are going and then demanding answers from a particular person in charge. And then if it's taken over, that means maybe the town hall or the governor or mayor rather would then be making announcements that are really weird. But we already have that with the news building, right? The cable company. Because we already have that with the news and cable company, it feels weird that you then have another building that the consequence and benefit are kind of exactly the same. What I think I need, after I finish this, is some caffeine. So I don't think the mayor thing is good enough for that middle area. The other thing I was thinking of is maybe a shopping center where you just have a handful of small shops / locations that people go to town for, spend some of their extra cash, and then go about their days. If that's the case, a shopping center, it wouldn't be far-fetched to have a laundromat in a shopping center. Maybe the shopping center can be kind of whatever we want. What I'm drawing here, though, is because I kind of like the idea of a diner. Right? You have a diner on one side, and then you have a shopping center on the other. Makes sense for a city center, to me. You would have the one place where everyone kind of goes to eat out, hang out, have a good time. Then you would have one location that would be assortment of other random shops that people, you know, work at. And then we can kind of play with it a little bit, where some of the people own a shop in the shopping center where they sell knickknacks. Right. Let's see here. Our diner's usually 24/7. I'm Googling it now. There's a Waffle House. Make this small town have a Waffle House. Kind of slaps, not gonna lie. Denny's? I mean, we could do a Denny's. But I haven't been to a Denny's in decades, because the last time I went to a Denny's, it took 45 minutes to get some chicken tenders, I want to say. It was bad, and it was bad chicken tenders too. I don't know what was going on. It was not great. Ever since then, we're just like, nope. So, interestingly enough, I came across a Reddit post asking the question of when did cafes and diners stop being 24/7? And the kind of main one that popped up was 24/7 diners tend to be in cities or at truck stops. What about a truck stop? That could be interesting. A truck stop near a diner? That could be kind of cool. Weirdly enough, the truck stop gave me more inspiration to do something interesting with, where there's a trucker calling from he parked his truck, he's sleeping in the truck that night, and then he hears things outside of his truck, and he's kind of keeping an ear out, but he calls the local emergency number, and he's like, yeah, there's something around my truck, and I can't see it. There's promise there. That may actually have some good shit. Let's see. Diner. Oh. Yeah, I like the truck stop idea. I like the diner next to the truck stop idea. Right? Because it's like, especially in this small town, it could be leftover of an older era when there wasn't a highway nearby, or the person in charge of the town wanted to try to pull in some of that traffic from the highways into the small towns so they can, spend some of their money. And it could be that highway, I don't know, the highway was closed down for construction, and they were having that pass through, like trucks pass through the small town. Because if we take from the left to the right, all you would need to do is just go down the main road, go around the roundabout, and then keep moving forward. Like, can semis? Can semis go on a roundabout? The new law requires drivers to yield the right-of-way to semi-trucks or those spanning 40 feet or longer in circular intersections. Okay, so they're allowed through. Nothing. We don't run into a problem where it's just like they don't do that. Good. Now, what that does allow, interestingly enough, is now these houses can be hit from this side. We like that. We like coming in from multiple angles. And then if these houses also get infected, they may also infect the truck stop and or the diner. Granted, at that point, it's also really creeping in on you, the player. What if we... make this a little shorter. And then it's a fenced-in house, right? You have the founder's house, the house that was built by the founder of the town, and it's so big. Borderline mansion, and it is gated. We have the abandoned buildings, we have the church, we have the cable station, we have... I should probably list this then. We have general store. Then we have shopping center. Shopping center is also a good teen spot, I think. Now let's remove this. How do we feel about this map layout? Do we feel that it feels full enough, but not too full? Do we see the flow? So let's see here. If we look at it, I can see a flow where it kind of goes up this way and around. I can see it go down this way And then spread out this way. I don't see a whole lot of middle. Or maybe this is considered middle. And then, oh, this is considered right? There's a couple of potential areas that may be something. For one, this spot. Looks like there should be something in it, right? But what would be here? Right? Well, we have a fire station. Wait a second. Is the 911 operator located inside a police station? Often, yes, but there are many call centers located far from police sheriff stations. Okay. Let's see here. Usually not. When I was a local officer in a larger city, we had a 911 along with PD and fire dispatch where our police HQ. We're in our police HQ. Sheriff calls and the fire calls for volunteer departments outside the city were transferred over from 911. Later, the entire communication center was moved to another building. Often, yes, but there are many call centers located far from police sheriff stations. I once patrolled a community in which the dispatch center was 55 miles away. It was a little confusing at first because I didn't know the area at all. Dispatch sent me to a bank alarm call. So I asked for basic directions, assuming the dispatchers were local and knew the fastest route. They weren't local and had no idea where the bank was. My guess is that most agencies are using centralized call dispatch centers or trending that way because it is more efficient and capable of handling calls for several departments from several city and county agencies. Now that is kind of interesting too. This is definite creep though, but what if you fail and then it zooms out and then now you have to be in charge of a call center that runs multiple counties? That'd be pretty based. However, we don't have that kind of time. Maybe it'll be a good DLC. I don't know. .911 call centers, also known as public safety answering points, PSAPs, are not always located within police stations. In many cases, they are separate facilities or centers dedicated specifically for receiving emergency calls, which is what we're doing, pretty much. While some 911 call centers may be housed within the police stations or share a building with other emergency response agencies, they are often standalone facilities that serve a specific region or jurisdiction. The primary function of a 911 call center is to receive emergency calls from the public and dispatch the appropriate emergency services such as police, fire, or medical responders. These centers are equipped with specialized telecommunications equipment and trained operators that are responsible for quickly and efficiently handling emergency calls and dispatching necessary assistance. Overall, the specific location of the 911 call center may vary depending on the jurisdiction and organization responsible for emergency response services at that time. In case you couldn't tell, that was a bot. So, this may add to the whole dread thing, right? Because we have hospital. Even though... Hold on. I'm Googling this too. Where are ambulances stationed? Many are stationed at their station house. Some of the larger cities will have them stationed at various locations, such as gas stations. Wait, what? Gas stations, grocery store parking lots, fast food places? What? What? Fire departments that run emergency medical services, it is common for ambulances to be based in separate stations, which are usually shared with fire apparatuses. Got you. So they're often stored in fire departments that have their own medical services. Interesting. And then now we are reading up on something called an ambulance station. An ambulance station is a structure or other area set aside for storage of ambulance vehicles and their medical equipment, as well as working and living space for their staff. Ambulance stations have facilities for maintaining ambulance vehicles, such as charger for the batteries. They have a space for storing and maintaining medical equipment. They will also be facilities for the crews, including kitchen and showers. Varies whether crews routinely wait at the station itself for call-outs. If they do, the station usually has an alerting system. In some instances, ambulance stations may be co-located with or integral to other emergency service facilities, such as fire stations or police stations, especially where the ambulance service is run by the fire department. In the fire departments that run emergency medical services, it is common. In other emergency medical services, ambulance stations are centralized hubs where crews start and end their shifts, and they usually drive to standby points to await callouts. The arrangement is common in independent ambulance services and is also used in New York City Fire Department. That's crazy. I didn't realize that they did that, where they had like... They just kind of... Okay. Interesting. Okay, so there are places that the ambulances can go so that they can reach the location quicker. They're almost like, okay, cool, whoever's closest, go to this location. Instead of everyone, so, which makes sense, especially in larger cities. But do we want to implement that here in a small town? I think it would be kind of interesting. But I don't think so. But as far as this spot is concerned, because we have the fire department on the right, we have the hospital to the south, because I'm trying to think this, right? It makes a lot of sense to kind of add on to that feeling of dread and loss. If you could lose, if it was slower, you would slowly lose those resources. As if those buildings get taken over, you lose those resources for good, right? So having 3 locations that would be essentially the the 3 resources that you utilize. And then it's like, okay, cool, you lose the hospital, you lose your ambulances. You lose your police station, you lose your police cars. You lose your fire station, you lose your fire trucks, right? But the resources utilized or the ones that are lost, I'm the one that I'm going back and forth on is police station. Right. It is the idea that the 911 call center can be from the police station, so you can lose your ambulances, you can lose your fire trucks, but you can never really lose the police station because you're in the police station. We want a feeling of helplessness, but we don't want them to be have no agency to do anything. You know what I mean? Because if you give them no agency to do anything, all they can do is just sit there and wait for the game to tell them that they lost. And that might be boring. Where it's like, oh, I lost my police station, I might as well wait. I can't send anything to you, so I'm not going to answer the phone call. Right? It's a difficult choice. I feel like there should be something in that space. I don't think it should be a house. I think it should be some kind of business. When I see the fire trucks located there, when I think the hospital's looking there, it makes sense that the separate entity would be a police station. You would have a hospital, you would have fire trucks, and you would have a police station, all within a similar area that could be utilized appropriately. All right. And weirdly enough, I kind of want to flip this map. Let's see here. There is definitely a way to go about it. Maybe not. I think I had to select everything. Let's see. Invert selected area. That didn't do nothing. What if I did that? And then flip. Is that what this is? Flip horizontal? How do we feel about this one? I don't like it as much, interestingly enough. I thought I would. But I don't. But thinking it in the sense of there's a police station, there's a hospital. What we could do is something like like this. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Where the left is the hospital and the right is the ambulance house. And then they can just go straight up. The fire department can go straight that way. And then the police department can go straight up that way. Right? And then you are the call center that is located in that same area, but you are not part of the same building. You are not part of the 911. So then when that building gets taken over and you can't send anyone anymore, you just have to sit there and wait. We can run with it, see how we feel, see how it feels. We can test it out, plan it through, and then find out that it's like, eh. Yeah. So we have shopping center over there, we have playground, we have diner, we have truck stop, we have all 3 locations where we store our vehicles, and if we lose that building, then we forever lose those vehicles, even if we have stuff left over. So essentially what ends up happening is you are desperately trying to keep this location safe. This location right here. As long as you have this location, you can still potentially save people. But if you lose any of that, you lose. Let's get some caffeine. I feel a little bad just because I usually don't drink caffeine very often. But Thursday in particular, I tend to hit a wall pretty quickly. I even fully took off yesterday, so I thought it'd be good enough, but I guess waking up super early in the morning to work out would, it doesn't really matter, right? However, I think the map is in a good enough place for version 1. Well, this is our version 1 map. Where we will have, looks like, how many different kinds of squares do we have? We have a 4x4. We have 2x2s, purples. We have 2x4 purple. We have a 2x2 red, which is the infected. We have 4x4s. We have 4x8s. And we have 5x10s. And it looks like we actually have We have a 3x5 for the diner and a 3x5 for, or 3x6 for the church. And we also have a 1 by, I don't even know what that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A 1 by 7. We can kind of make that a little more uniform, right? All right. When I open this up, this is 32 by 32. I mean, we can make it smaller if we need to. Because at least as far as this is concerned, I think each of these are 5 though, so it would be like whatever. As far as equating all the math and everything, as far as how big we want it to be, I'm thinking kind of like if it's right here, I'm thinking you can see it like that, and then you just see it driving on the road. Now, kind of the question is, do we want to keep it rigid like this? Do we want smooth edges, or do we want hard edges? I think hard edges is certainly easier. If we feel like we want to dress it up a little bit when we're like really figuring out the art of it all, I think this is simple enough that we could just run it. All right. So crap, how are we gonna size this, right? Because we have it 4 by 5, right? A 4 by 5, each of these, what's the grid? Alright, I was like, I think I could understand it. Nope, not even a little bit. So you have somewhere that's like 190 to 1190. Is there a ruler button? Is there a ruler button? What is it? Tell me how much it is. I'm guessing that's not what I'm thinking it is. Figure ruler, ruler pin, special ruler, guide. Nope. Symmetrical ruler, figure ruler, special ruler. No. I don't know. Could I potentially do like add a layer and then have like this like that, and then be like, cool, that's perfect. Now I'm going to save this layer. This feels so backwards. Create layer to file object. Okay. This is 4x4. Did we do it? Okay, it's 80 pixels. So 4x4 is 80. That makes sense. 100 divided by 5 is 20. So each one of these is 20 pixels. Okay. Okay. We can move forward with that and see how that works. So with that being said, what we're gonna do is we're gonna create another one. So we made the 4x4, right? This is gonna be house. And it's gonna be... Why does it do this? This is... I don't like this. I'm like, I want to edit the size, and it's just like, no, it's good to go now. So don't change the file name, Idealist. So it's a 2x2, so it would be 40x40. And then, boom. Where's my, hey, there it is. It's like, where's my keyboard? And now we want this to be last call. Save the house. And then we have 4x8. Four by 8 would be 80 by 160. Why? I didn't even do it. Okay, sure, whatever. New 80 by 160. And we can always flip it, I believe. And this is, we'll just do 4x8. Boop. Easy peasy, love it. 4x8. Actually, what we'll need to do, we'll need to make this into a JPEG. And it's the same for the house clip here. JPEG. So I did learn that of why you may want to utilize the PNG file instead of a JPEG file. Because I always was told, like, do JPEG, never do PNG, right? PNG keeps transparent backgrounds. JPEG does not. The more you know. So now we'll do 5x10, which is 100. There it goes again. How very frustrating. By 200. Boop. JPEG. This is 5x10. How are you? There we go. So we have 4x8, 4x4. We have the house. We have 5x10. What are we gonna do? We need to do something about the roads, right? How are we gonna do the roads? Originally I was gonna have them go into pieces, right? Where it's like, cool, you have this road, and as long as I have the minimal amounts, I could just multiply it again and again and again and again. And just be like, cool, it is this, but I want you to kind of keep adding, like, stretch it, and it doesn't lose pixels. Now what we could do, it'd be very rigid. And that is, oh. You know what? I think I'm forcing this. I really do. I think I really am. You know what? I think that's exactly what's happening. I think I'm trying to force this today. Because even with caffeine, all it's really doing is just making me anxious. So, what do I want to do today? It is... we have a lot that we still need to do as far as the game is concerned, but I don't think that's where my head wants to be. A part of me, I recently came across a recent YouTube channel that kind of went super hard into like, wow, I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, but basically it's paleo art, right? And I thought a good practice would be, because my current art, as you can tell with Mama Dodo, is kind of like a decent mixture between cute and creepy, right? Which is what I want. I want kind of a more cute vibe to it with a juxtaposition of like moments of creepiness, right? Moments of scariness to it. Like you kind of peel back the jelly, and then underneath is something that you realize is not natural. But like Mama Dodo is cute, but it is not like what I would consider as cute as I would want her to be. And it could be the same as far as the creepy aspect, where it's like it's a little creepy, but not very creepy. So I was thinking, it's like, okay, well, we could draw how we normally draw it, which is like somewhere in the middle, and then I will then try to draw the same thing but in a different style in either direction, and practice trying to make something super cute, and then try to draw the same thing except super creepy. Because as far as it is like I wanted to be able to do both, but at the moment it's kind of like mixed with each other. They're kind of they're intermingling, and it's almost like a bell curve, right? Where it's like all of it's just in the middle, and I kind of want to just stretch it so it's like, okay, cool, I want to be able to go into one end or the other. And then another like prong of it, because they use that paleo art kind of falls into 3 different categories. It was scientific, it was scientific, fantasy, and cartoon, right? Cartoon is more cute, more kind of like simplified, kind of mostly for the eyes of like children and stuff like that. Fantasy is kind of more like Jurassic Park, where it's more thematic. It's more like the dinosaur represents something, and or the situations that they come across is not something that is realistic what they went through. And then scientific is like accurate, where it's about showing the newest developments for the paleo studies and how everything's progressed. And I think it would also be so, considering I want to kind of go into the creepy direction, aka fantasy, and the cute direction, aka cartoon, I think it would also be beneficial for my accuracy, and make sure that doesn't fall off, to might as well just make a third version of trying to make it as realistic as possible, and just make try to make like a hyper realistic looking one. So that's just been on my mind today. Within that's something that we would want to do now is a different story entirely. But that's essentially where my head has been at. And then we were doing the stream today as far as working on this, and I just don't think my head's been in it. I don't think my heart's in it. And maybe that's noticeable, where it's just kind of like, he seems like he just got out of bed. He seems almost disinterested in what he's working on, right? And I don't want that. I don't want that to be the vibe that people get, as far as like, oh, he's just doing this to do this. And we've done it before where we've skipped a day and was just like, we'll just do it tomorrow. So what we're gonna do is we've pretty much reached the point where we're just transferring it over. Okay, we finished the map. The map is done. We need to transfer everything over. We're in the midst of doing that. So what we're gonna do is transition. I'm thinking finishing up Alien Isolation, because I think 2 hours is all it's really going to take to finish that out. And then tomorrow we can try this again, and see if we can put a little bit more work into it. Right? Yeah. Honestly, I feel a little better already. I should have realized that there was some pushback. And this is, if anything, this is kind of one of those things where you kind of have to listen to yourself a bit. Right? Or it's like, I mean, there's a difference between like being lazy and then they're just being like, listen, you're just not, as much as you want to be in the zone for this, you're just not in the zone for it. Which means the things that you're gonna be producing are gonna be subpar in comparison to when you are in the zone. Does that mean that you should never get it done? Does that mean you should never like work on something? No, of course not. And there is no such thing as like perfect, right? There's no such thing as you feel absolutely perfect in order to get this done. No. Sometimes you have to push yourself a little bit to really see, is like, okay, am I just tired because I took a nap today? Is it just kind of like a boring part of the game design? I'm not just a huge fan of it. And like, is it that? Or do I need caffeine? Because it's, unfortunately, I'm a night owl, right? I don't start peaking until like 6+. Like after dinner is when my brain really starts cutting on, which is why I like the 8 to 12 streams. But here's the thing. The 8 to 12 streams, that time period is when my brain's like really on. I don't need, what we were doing at 8 to 12 was pretty much just working on or playing games. I don't need my full on switch when I play games. I need my full on switch to make games, right? Who knows? Maybe we will switch back to the 8 to 12 and we'll flip it so that it's like from 2 to 6 we play a game, and then from 8 to 12 we work on the games, making a game, right? Or we make a game from 8 to 12. We could potentially do that. And it would be probably a good idea to also kind of look on how the stream goes and looking at the analytics and be like, hey, for the like software and development, when does it peak, right? Does it peak at 12? Or like how many people are on, right? Are there people who are interested in watching this a game development stream from 8 to 12 at night on a weekday, right? And it's hard to say. So probably should have waited until I had it up. So what we're gonna do is we have a couple things to pull up. Alien Isolation.